Hello and welcome to Sage and Stone Homestead. If you have not met me yet, my name is Heather. This is Tori. She's one of my many mini La Manchas. Right now I'm only milking about 5 does and I do need a little bit more milk. My children are getting really into the groove of eating all things goat dairy. It took a few years for them to really adjust, but we're needing more milk because I'm needing to make more cheese. I have kept the dough that Tori had this year, and sometimes it can seem a little bit tricky of how do I get all the milk that I want while keeping a dough. You can put the baby up in a stall at night and separate them and then milk in the morning. That does work well. Sometimes you don't have the facilities for that, and sometimes it can get just a little bit busy. It's just another one of those things that you have to do before bed, and we milk once a day, so I'm not in the barn every 12 hours like clockwork like some people are, and so teat taping works best for us. I will show you how I put this on and exactly what tape I'm using, but she needs milking, so we're gonna do that. The tape that I have found that I like to use most is called kinesiology tape. It is nice and stretchy and it's breathable. And isn't Tori so kind? This is a little bit of a routine shift for Tori. I don't normally milk this early in the morning. I taped her yesterday around 3 p.m. and it's about 7 a.m. right now, and this is how full she is. I haven't asked Tori to really hold her milk at all since she kidded in February, so she hasn't had to fill her udder like this since she had her babies, and I'm really happy with the way that her udder looks. But I also knew that I probably couldn't expect her to go a full 24 hours without some relief. She's not super tight. Now we are pretty far past her peak, but still, I wanted to make sure that I checked her earlier rather than later. Eventually I will be able to milk her once a day with the rest of the girls. I just want to make sure that she's ready for that. I don't really want to thrust her into that, just in case she needs a little bit of taming in her production. Now I mentioned this being a new routine for her, just in case she gets a little bit antsy on the stand. Any kind of change can really throw a goat off. Even just the act of being taped can throw them off. Time of day changing, being more full at first while being milked can throw them off. She's doing pretty good now though. So you can probably tell what the teat taping does in order to preserve the milk for human use. It blocks the kid from being able to physically eat the milk. Some babies can get the tape off, especially over time. Sometimes they're fooled for a couple days and then they get mischievous and can figure it out. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can tape over the teats to hopefully keep it on there. Tori is a mini La Mancha, but she's mostly Nigerian dwarf, so she does have the smaller teats. The teat taping will differ depending on your goat and her anatomy. So if you choose to do this, definitely give yourself liberty to switch things up a little bit for what works for you and your specific goat. They are all very, very different. Put your foot in this milk. Alright, so it's been a very long time since I fully milked Tori from full to empty, and she did really well with that. With everything being different, Tori did great. We're gonna pull up little Miss Frenzy in a little bit. Frenzy's gonna act differently. But Tori is now empty. I got probably about a quart of milk. Now I'm going to tape her again so that little Miss Tatanka can't get the milk. This is what I use. You can see that I got a really good deal on this kinesiology tape. Definitely shop around and see what you can find as far as prices. I cleaned the store out at this price, so I have a lot of this stored away. I have also used something called micropore tape. The thing with that, it's breathable, but it's not flexible, and I prefer something flexible. So it comes in these really long strips, and I do have to cut them down. So I'm just going to cut this in half. The way that I prefer to tape my girls uses 4 smaller strips, but I will show you an alternative way with 1 larger strip. Cut that in half, and then in half this way. This is enough to tape both teats. Now I'm not going to do a post dip or a post milking cleaning on her. I haven't actually done a post dip in ages, in many years, maybe even 5 years. That is partially because I tend to keep my baby goats on their mamas, and if I clean up their udders, the babies are just going to nurse on them quickly anyway. But also, it's not very long after you're done milking them that teat orifice closes up anyway. So if the goats are going to be standing up for about 10 minutes after they're milked anyway, the body itself is going to do the job of sealing the teat. You don't really have to worry about it. At least that's been my experience. All right, so let's move you closer. Tori does have a little bit of a dark udder, so hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. I'll also explain what I'm doing. The first tape is going to go over her teat this way, like that. Place this on one side, curve it around, up the other side, and just lightly pinch that on. I have found that this is not secure enough for most babies. So we're gonna take the second piece of tape and wrap it around this way. She's starting to get antsy, like, what are we doing up here? Tape around the top of that current piece of tape. You're all right, girl. Like that. And that should keep the baby off. Another way that I have taped the teats that works really well if the babies are very good at getting the tape off is you can actually take a larger piece of tape and take this whole teat and basically tape it to the udder like that. This was a tip that I got from a subscriber and it works really well. So we've got the larger piece right here. I'm gonna put it on her teat like that and literally tape it up to her udder like that. And because this is stretchy, it's gonna grow with her udder and it's not gonna put, you know, too much pressure on the teat itself. Isn't that funny looking? That might have been a little bit too big, but you get the idea. Those are the two ways that I know to tape the teat securely. In the beginning, while you're taping, I don't think I would leave the same tape on the same goat for more than about 24 hours. Even if you're using this method to dry the dough off, you want to be checking the udder and making sure the teats aren't leaking every single day, because it's leaky teats that are going to introduce bacteria and that can lead to mastitis. So you want to be very careful. Tori's been taped, what is that, about 18-ish hours at this point, and she is really far past the time that she kidded. If she had kidded recently, like let's say she was only 8 weeks fresh or something, I probably wouldn't have even taken her 18 hours. I'd be checking her every 12, because in that beginning part of their lactation and into the peak of their lactation, they're really cranking out the milk production. We really don't want them to get over full. You can wean them down to having less milk, so you can milk less often if that is what you prefer, but in the beginning, every 12 hours is really what you want to do. So let's see how Frenzy's doing. It looks like Fable might have gotten off one of the tapes. Hey baby girl, this is the little doe out of Tori, and I just saw her try to nurse. She saw the tape and gave up pretty quickly. Some babies are very persistent, but she's older. Are you ready? I think I saw Fable got your tape off. Come here, ma'am. Yeah, one side is off. So as you can see, the little baby got off one side and it seems like she has been drinking. Fable she would be a little bit more persistent about getting the tape off. So we will try that teat taping to the back of the udder method for Frenzy to see if that works better. Frenzy has smaller teats too, and I think the smaller teats work better for taping them to the back of the udder than some of the larger teats, but I haven't tried to do that with super large teats. She's less good on the stand. I think I got a little bit less milk out of Frenzy than I did out of Tori. This is Frenzy's first freshen and she had a single doeling. Tori's on her second freshen and she had twins. All right, let's see about taping her a little differently. funny looking. I will say I have had babies get through all manner of taping. Some of them are just very, very stubborn and persistent. They do make slings for the udder that are made to hold up a really low pendulous udder. I call it an udder bra. It's like, it's got straps and it goes around their udder and just, it's basically a piece of mesh fabric that comes up and holds over. That is an option if you need to do that. One thing I want to tell you though is that it is real strappy around their body, and if your goats have access to an area where they're around a lot of trees and branches, that can pose like a tangling hazard, so you want to be careful with that. This is my preference, but the udder bra is an option if you really need it. Fable is too busy up on the feeder to come down and nurse. I do have one more goat that I taped over that I am not currently milking, and I want to check her too. Hey Christine, can we see how you're holding up? She has a tendency to leak, which is why I really want to pay attention. There you go. Looks like she has one side off too. I'm actually trying to wean her baby. She's actually nursing Frenzy. That goat that we just had up here is her granddaughter, and she's been nursing her for almost 2 years, but not quite. Too long. And Christine is old and needs to not put out calories into that fat granddaughter. So I'm just checking her to make sure things are drying up well and she's not leaking. And she's not, which is good. It's obvious that Frenzy has nursed a little bit on that side, but I'm gonna retape her. Her udder doesn't feel hot. I don't feel lumps or anything like that. She's gonna be a little bit antsy happy feet because she's not a fan of this. You're all right, girl. Loop around and up top. Like with all things goat, a lot of times you have to be more stubborn than them. So if this baby keeps getting off the tape, I would keep trying for at least a couple weeks. You might out-stamina their stubbornness, and this is the easiest thing. Once you really get into the flow of it, once the goats get the understanding of it, it's my favorite way to kid share, and hopefully this helps some of you.